Hey everyone, welcome back to the Darkist channel. So in our previous videos, we talked about the rights during an investigation and the rights at trial. Now, what about after you have been arrested or convicted? Are there any limits on the government's power then? Can they set bail at $1 billion for a minor offense? Or can they subject you to brutal conditions? The answer is no, because we have the Eighth Amendment rights. The Eighth Amendment is short, but it is also powerful. This amendment is your protection against the government using its power to crush you through unreasonable finance demands or barbaric treatment. Eighth Amendment simply states no excessive bail, no excessive finance, no cruel or unusual punishment. We are going to look into two key areas where this relates to the police encounter or jail. And these areas are in excessive bail and the concept of unusual punishment. So the first is excessive bail. Take, for example, you have been arrested and the court's first decision is often about bail. Bail is an amount of money you pay to be released from custody with the promise that you will show up for your court date. The Eighth Amendment says this amount cannot be excessive. Excessive means the amount must be reasonably related to two goals: ensuring you return for trial and protecting the community's safety. A judge cannot just set an absolutely high bail just to keep you in jail or punish you because you have been convicted of a crime. The amount should be tailored to the specifics of the case and your individual circumstances. Bail should not be used as a tool of punishment before conviction. How to use this right? This right is primarily used in court at your first appearance or specific bail hearing. You or your lawyer will argue for a fair bail amount. At a bail hearing, be prepared to show the judge you are not a flight risk. You can point to your job, your family, how long you have lived in the area, and your financial resources. If you have a lawyer, they can handle this. But if you are alone, you can say, Your Honor, I believe the proposed bail is excessive under the Eighth Amendment. I have strong ties with the community. I am not a flight risk, and the amount is beyond my means and is intending to punish me rather than secure my appearance. You can also request release on OR, that is own recognizance. This means you are released without paying any money, just on your written promise to return. You can ask the judge, Your Honor, I request to be released on my own recognizance. The second area where you can invoke the Eighth Amendment is on cruel and unusual punishment. Most people think this clause only applies to torture in prison after a conviction, but court has expanded it. It includes certain actions by law enforcement, particularly regarding excessive force and the conditions you're held in. How does this amendment apply in police encounter? They apply through, firstly, malicious and sadistic forces. That is, if officer use force on a person in custody, not for legitimate security reasons, but maliciously and sadistically for the very purpose of causing harm, it can be considered as an unusual punishment. Then you can invoke the Eighth Amendment. Comparing from the Fourth Amendment, which is a ban on unusual seizures during an arrest, the Eighth Amendment protection can be argued to kick in after you have been arrested and are in custody, that is pre-trial detention. Where you can also use this is in conditions of confinement to protect you from being held in deliberate inhuman conditions. This could include being denied basic necessities like water, medical care for a serious injury, or protection from violence from other inmates. You have a right to be free from deliberate inhuman treatment in custody. So let's talk about some common mistakes to avoid. The first mistake to avoid is thinking bail is non-negotiable. Don't assume the first bail amount offered is the final one. It is a legal argument. You have the right to argue. Not speaking up is a mistake. The second one is ignoring medical needs in custody. If you are injured during your arrest or have a serious medical condition, you must clearly and reportedly state this to the officer and ask for medical attention. If not, document who you told it and when. Not providing necessary medical care can be an Eighth Amendment violation. Enduring abusive conditions silently. If the condition in a holding cell are genuinely inhuman, like let's say for example, no working toilets, extreme temperature, denial of water for an extended period, you should report to the officer or deputy and your lawyer. The Eighth Amendment ensures the principle of innocence until proven guilty has meaning, preventing the system from punishing you with debt or inhuman treatment before your case is even heard. It ensures that even in custody, your basic human dignity is protected by the Constitution. This is all about the Eighth Amendment from the Darkist, and also be aware that this is for only educational purposes, not a legal advice. For specific legal issues, make sure to consult a qualified lawyer, and also make sure you subscribe and comment. See you on the next one.